Some foreigners who don't live in Korea ask me, aren't you kind of lonely that you're kind of on the outside of society and you can't really fit in? And I say no, I'm kind of grateful because I know how hard it could be if I had to be part of society. If you're Korean, you're born to a certain family and you're born on a certain date, and you will forever be tied to those two things. The people older than you will always be older than you, and the people younger than you will always be younger than you. Those relationships will endure forever, and they will define how you communicate with those people. The same goes for your classmates, for your teachers, for eventually your co-workers and your employers. And if those people are older than you, they often have a certain degree of power over you. When it's not a nice person, it can often be terrible. If your boss is mean and demanding, your boss is still your boss, and because they're older, you have to do everything they say. If an upperclassman in college wants to take you out drinking and you say no, that's gonna really hurt your relationship. Now, things are changing, I know that. People often say that, and I see it, but it's not really changing that fast. There is a greater degree of individuality than there used to be, and greater respect for people of differing ages and different preferences. But in Korea, generally, if someone older than you thinks that there's something you should do or there's something better for you, you are kind of obligated to do that, especially if you're close to that person. Ask any Korean who's single and in their 20s or 30s who has to go meet all their relatives during the Lunar New Year or Chuseok. They just get questioned by everyone, why aren't they married yet? Or why aren't they dating anyone? Or what's wrong with them? And they can't simply say, oh, I like being single. Because older people, because they're respected, they're also the voice of authority, and they assume authority because who else is going to give the authority? So if they say, you know, I've been married for 30 years and it's great, well, that's just how it is. In the workplace, if the boss wants to work until 10 p.m. and you want to go home early, it's going to look really bad if the boss is still there. There are many jobs for Koreans that are advertised as having hours from 9 to 6. In many respects, those hours are much longer depending on the amount of work, depending on the company, depending on a load of factors. Koreans are very much tied to their statuses. You know, all the friends are aware of what they're doing, who they're dating, who their family is, how well off their family is. And even if people are friends, they are still sort of competing with each other. You know, if a group of mothers meet and all their children are getting A's and one of them is getting B's, that mother feels a bit embarrassed on behalf of her son. I know that's kind of true in every society, but trust me, it's a big deal here. That's why parents are always pushing their kids so hard to get into the best colleges, to get the best grades, and to get the jobs that pay the best and have the best reputations and statuses. I've been asked by many Koreans who are both in Korea and not in Korea, why do you want to be here? And they're asking me that because they don't want to be here. Maybe they've already left and they're happy to have left, or maybe they're here but they don't really have a way to leave, or they've lived abroad before and they had to come back for one reason or another. Foreigners are given a certain amount of freedom in the workplace compared to Koreans. They're given Western-style job hours and Western-style job expectations. Foreigners are also provided for in a lot of ways. Housing is either arranged for them or paid for them. Foreigners often get the benefits that Korean employees also get, but without having to do all the same amount of work. It really is unfair, and that kind of explains why some Koreans are a bit bitter toward foreigners for working in Korea. But really the unfair thing in the workplace is how hard Korean employees have to work and how unfair and inflexible like their work hours and work conditions sometimes are. It used to be worse. I mean, now people work 5 days a week. Before I came to Korea, I don't know when, maybe around the 90s, it used to be 6 days a week. For students, school still is 6 days a week. I have some friends who have newborn children and they're a bit wary about bringing up their kids in Korea. They are Korean, some of them have lived abroad, but they know how tough the education system is here, and they're worried about they want their kids to have like a happy childhood. They want their kids to do good, but also to have fun. For many students here, daily life is work, 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 work. I can sympathize with Koreans who have so many obligations, so much responsibility, and so much stress. On the weekends, they just crash, or they go drinking, or they watch movies, just something to unwind and forget about work. Some of them are making a lot of money and have absolutely no free time to use it. Thankfully, there are some more companies in Korea that are either Western companies or a bit more westernized that give people really good working hours and reasonable responsibilities and expectations. Anyway, if you're a foreigner in Korea and your Korean friends who have jobs are way too busy to hang out, don't blame them. They've got so much more on their plate than you realize.